doing it. You supposed to be happy you sitting there with Kid L. Why you mad?
The Kid L Podcast.
Rolling, first guest to rock an all feel fit, man.
Dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it.
Introduce yourself to everybody real quick, bro.
What up, though? UcciKhan in the building. What's happening?
UcciKhan, man. You want to bring the ashtray to the middle so it's easier for you?
I'll show you right.
First thing we'll talk about is you brought me a copy of your book, man. Gangsta Angel with Dirty Wings, man. Talk about this book.
Oh, man. Shit, it's kind of, a look into the mind, methods, and motivations of one of society's most misunderstood persons. All my life, the bad man was the good guy. His wings may have been skewed or scarred, right? But, when we was hungry, that's who came with pizza. When mama was fighting her boyfriend, that's who would come get him off her. So I was always inclined to bad men. You know what I'm talking about? I seen the bad man do more in the hood than the pastor.
Aww.
Yeah.
Yeah, pastors are on fire right now for a lot of the ways that they're... There is like a pastor that literally just he went on stage and talked about how rich he is in front of everybody, and it's like kind of crazy. Like you're supposed to be about humbleness and about,
I think they ought to eat, you know what I'm talking about? They provide a great service, but like you say, at the expense of the flock, if the flock's starving and the shepherd fat, then that's a problem, you know what I'm talking about?
They're charging tithes to be a part of churches, man. You pay like $300 a month to be a part of a church, and then your pastor rolls up in like a Range Rover. It's like, what's going on? I've seen it with my own eyes. I used to work for a pastor at a church that literally, that's what he did. Like, he used to pull up in this crazy car and charge crazy money to be a part of the church. I'm like, this doesn't feel right, man.
Well, one of my favorite books by Bishop Don Magic Wine is called From the Pimp Stick to the Pulpit. And I'll just leave that right there.
Okay. Talk about where you're from, man.
So I'm a D-boy. However, I spent a lot of my young life in Chicago, South Side, but I'm an East Side Detroiter, born down by the river, across Jefferson, lived all over the East Side, back and forth my young life, East Side, Chicago, back and forth, literally, man.
Where does your accent come from?
Yeah, everybody say that, and again, it's probably that Chicago thing, you know what I'm talking about? It's like mixed jive, man, both of those cultures, man, very different and distinct places, irrespective of how close. A whole different vibe, you know what I mean? Whole different energy, different jargon, Joe, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool. Talk about your time growing up in Detroit.
Oh, stumped down hard, man. Shit. I seen it all early. Even before I got off the porch, I had about seen it all. You know what I mean? My family, very spirited, street people. You know what I mean? So, was dancing with the crack devil when it first came to the hood. And then just violence, man, shit, 80s was ooh-wee, man, you know what I'm talking about? So, just in it far as I can remember, bro.
Yeah. Can you pull that microphone into you a little bit?
Yep, show you right, yeah.
And so you're talking about the 80s here being like a violent era. Are you feeling in Detroit like a lot of hostility going on?
Oh, yeah, crack, man, the devil came. Cats was already suffering and hurting and traumatized from poverty and whatnot. And then, that devil came, bro, and it just like opened the floodgates, you know what I'm saying? The game changed.
How are you, like, do you know who was distributing it? Because there's always like the conspiracy there's a conspiracy that the government pushed.
Well, one thing, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but if a substance just pops up out of clear as blue and everybody up on it in every city and every state and everybody got the recipe, that's we didn't even have the internet then. This couldn't even be a viral TikTok. So somehow, some way, this chemistry, You know what I'm talking about? You know, found its way in every nook and cranny in every hood, man, and it devastated us, and we ain't bounced back yet.
What was your life like as a person in the 80s like during that time? What were you doing?
Oh, so I was watching from afar, man. Very, very timid, you know, mama's boy, poor but spoiled, you know what I mean? High yellow young black boy in a white man's world trying to find my way. I was bullied often, you know, didn't have the flash of things, so wasn't very popular, you know, and then, you know, as the late 80s, you know, came, you know, I really, you know, I was always around gangism, but like, you know, coming to those late 80s, I kind of, what I would say, like, just really fell all the way in, you know, a lot of dysfunction in the house and violence and drugs and alcohol, and then, you know, I feel like sooner or later, bro, I just couldn't, the pull was strong. Like the fire was already there, but I used to just, you know, I rather like used to try to get along, and then that shit just, the floodgate opened, man, double time.
What do you mean?
So, you know, in Detroit East Side, late 80s, I would call them the beatdown era. You would get your goddamn gut stuffed out for fucking walking down the wrong street, you know. Anywhere, everywhere, all the time, you know. Around 13 years old, 14, shit, I started popping that hammer, man. I weighed about 100 pounds. I took one too many beat downs and I wasn't taking no more. So I kind of revolutionized the game, me and a few other guys. My neighborhood is 48205. It's considered one of the most dangerous zip codes. When I got there, it was a suburb. You know, within 2-3 years, we turned that thing out. You know what I'm talking about? And just, yeah, man, you know, once the shit, you know, get piled up so far, it's like an explosion, and then there's no constructive vent. You know what I'm talking about? I was into music young, but, you know, 1,000 promises. Motherfucker talking to my mama, he this, he that, I can do this, but I wasn't in New York. I wasn't in Cali. I wasn't, you know, so, you know, my life reflected the music in the way that it cost me.
Man.
So, you know, my penance, I feel, was the music. You know, I did all my 20s in prison, plus some.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So the time, I feel like I rap now because I just love to do it, but I feel like the time when I was my best and coulda, shoulda been doing it, you know, I was pressing that bunk or beating on that wall, you know what I'm talking about?
When you figured out that you had a knack for making music, what year was that roughly?
Oh, I've been rapping, man, since like 84, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went through all the eras from the Awesome Dre to
Hell
Detroit's
yeah.
Most Wanted.
Yeah, my heroes, man.
Yeah.
My homies now, you know, like all my heroes, you know, that survived by the grace of God, that, you know, they all my homies now, you know. Awesome Dre, that's my big brother. You know, Mossy, all them guys. You know, I actually got a song with Dre.
Really?
The Adidas Dogs, we performed at the CVA last year with Too Short. And that shit, I told him one time, I said, I don't think you know who you is. You know what I'm talking about? Like, fucking Esham and fuck, you know, and I live, you know, again, 48205, Esham, like, live right across grass shit. I'm Chalmers, he's Shaner. But shit, to do what he did at such a young age, that shit was iconic, you know what I'm talking about?
For sure. They were like, I think Awesome Dre was the first one to get a deal in Detroit as a hip hop artist.
Well, I would probably say my cousin, the guy who often gets slept on, they just showed him love in this year's 50th anniversary, a guy named LaRocco T. And, you know, just look into it, man. He had a deal with Outburst through Def Jam, was on the West Coast. The story goes, it was a bidding war. East Coast didn't like it, and I'm just saying what I heard. He got slipped to Mickey and ain't been the same since. But as far as first to get a deal, I would, you know, and all of them know him, you know, I would probably have to say, you know, definitely LaRocco T, DJ No S-U-N.
Oh.
But and one of the most talented motherfuckers you never heard, man, like real life.
Wow. And so he had obviously an unfortunate circumstance with drugs or something like that.
Yeah, man.
Took him off track.
He still rap a little bit, but he not himself, man. This guy was like
Man,
spectacular.
I had a friend that same thing. He was he went to Mexico. He was a normal dude, man. He went to Mexico, came back. I don't know what the hell happened to this guy. They said he popped certain pills and he never came back to normal. It was insane. You know, they say like certain drugs can activate the psych. Like if you have symptoms of schizophrenia or if you have any signs of schizophrenia being a part of your life, yeah, bust it open basically. Like
yeah. And then you have predispositions.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's the word for it.
Yeah.
That's what the word is. Predispositions to having schizophrenic episodes and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, you got to witness the guys who really started hip hop in Detroit, right? When we're talking about the UcciKhans and we're talking about the Awesome Dre's, Detroit's Most Wanted. There's cats before that, obviously too. That's just the most familiar with it. But talk about that era and talk about being a part of it.
So to me, that's where we need to be right now. If we would have stayed right there, you know, not to be funny, but everybody like, you know, Trick, that's my big homie, man. We politic, chop it up often. And people criticize him about his no-fly zone tactics and methods, but that's kind of how we always got down. We've been the trendsetters. Like, if you say, you know, the first guy on here with a feeler out, like, I'm just Detroit to the fucking bone, bro. I'm not folding to nobody else. Style, jargon, swagger, way, you know. So back then, we understood that, bro. You had, like, to come here and make us throw our hands up. You had, like, we was waiting to throw a chair at your ass, bro. And now it just seemed like, you know, everybody's just so welcoming and fucking, you know, just like we don't got that pride no more, man, like we had. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. And I think you got to look at the aspect of starving artists, right? Because at the end of the day, people are trying to find any way to get out of the situation that they're in.
Right.
And so they're doing things that might be out of code or out of character to do it.
Sure, you're right.
But they're chasing the money, right, at the end of the day. You might have to... there's an artist from Detroit that says this all the time. He'll do an interview with somebody that he doesn't fuck with, because he's going to make more money if he does that interview, or his career will blossom. So people are like at that level of wanting it that bad that they'll do things outside of their code.
And you know, that's the source of a whole bunch of social ailments, from gangism to drug selling to drug usage. So I definitely get the psychosis. But for me, you know, that's why I'm poor and probably be fucking poor forever, because if it's something I don't do, money not gonna make me do it.
Wow.
So again, that's just a different mentality. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, when I came home from prison, my first book, The Passion of the Life, I was offered, and mind you, I just did 15 years straight.
Yeah.
I didn't have a motherfucking thing, and I was offered $150,000 for 100% rights to my book. And I turned that shit down cold, man. You understand what I'm saying? Because, like, fuck no. Like, I'll write you a story for a fucking 100%, but, you know, give you, you know, and see, that's how our stories get fucked up. I think one of the most, like, I survived the war, bro. From outside to the yard, to the hardest of the hard, and the greatest victory is to be able to write your own history.
Yeah.
So to sell that would be fucking absurd and insane. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit too, man. What does the book reflect on? What's the main subject of time?
So the main scenario of the book is how I believe that street people have a divine calling to be the pillars in our community. I don't think the police can do it. If they could, they would have been done it. I don't think the elders, it's not their responsibility. It's definitely like the babies, but you got these so-called gangsters, right? So for me, I'm a fucking gangster, bro, and that's the most highest honorable. Only thing you can call me better than that is God body, right? But and so when you look at it, I talk about people like Bumpy Johnson, Vito Corleone, who were considered the Robin Hoods of they neighborhoods, who took care of the elders, who took care of the people. Vito, hence becoming Godfather, right?
Right.
So, you know, to me, a gangster is not this motherfucker with his pants ill-fitting and you know, you know, fucking inarticulate motherfucker who, you know, a gangster to me is clean cut, you know, suit cut to the motherfucking crisp to the teeth, right? With a hat on, you know, and just a fucking gentleman, bro, and a scholar, and a warrior in the most ruthless of senses.
Yeah. And
Yeah, all at the same time.
yeah, and when you look at even if we're just using a movie as an example, like in New Jack City, right? Like the thing is, like the idea of the gangster is that he is the top dog. Everybody's looking at you like you have control over everything around us.
Mm-hmm.
You can give us things like food, and shelter, and opportunity.
Right. Show you right.
But how do they get to that point though? Is by doing things that also hurt the community as well, which is like if you facilitate drugs in order to get to that level of success, but at the same time you're helping the community, it's like you're poisoning it, but you're helping it at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you be a gangster in your eyes without having to put poison back into the city or community?
So I've been home 14 years and I've been walking the line. I've been homeless twice, and I got the strength to snatch a motherfucker whole pants off. Fuck his pockets, right? I don't have to be hungry, and I know this. But, so I say that to say, you know, I've been tempted by the dark side, but I've been there. You know what I'm talking about? It's for me, it's about pure, sheer growth and development. If it's not community, like I'm at all the community meetings, the fucking churches, block club, you know, like it's strictly community empowerment, trying to, you know, I bought the block where I called my case. You know what I'm talking about? Like we die for blocks and we go to fucking jail for blocks and we don't own shit on the block, right? So for me, bro, it don't even got nothing to do with that element, right? So whatever we doing, we can do it at different levels and frequencies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know, I could be intelligent, I can be manipulative, I can be articulate, and I can use it to move people or in wayward ways. Or I can use it to be on high, right? And be spirit and benevolent and move people to righteous things, but it's still the same skill set, right? Or whatever.
I totally understand. Yeah. There's more levels to it than just about the money aspect of it and the power aspect of it. Talk about, now you're mentioning the prison sentence, man. Talk about you did that's a hefty amount of time, man. Obviously, talk about the days leading up to it. What transpired?
So you know, my case. You know, my neighborhood now, they call it the red zone. And, you know, I be telling the youngsters, my little homies, like, do your research. It used to be the blue zone, you know. And it was just, you know, the rap music, you know, cats start getting different influences and these cats flipping and these cats claiming this mixed up with that. And the hood was just on fire, bro. And, shit, I had the year before that, I had got shot in the chest, survived that shit, and instead of sitting the fuck down, I started feeling like I couldn't be, you know, like that shit don't bother me, so I'm walking through the gunfire, you know, and then probably up under that was maybe a desire to want to be up out this bitch anyways, I'm not sure, but 1994, I called my case summertime, and you know, the most. You know, God was screaming at me so many different ways, bro, and I just, you know, wasn't hearing him, you know. And so in the shootout, in my case, a 2-year-old was shot in the crossfire and died, and I was found not guilty of that in court, but guilty as shit in my conscience. And so today, I work doing violence intervention because. Still to this very day, bro, it's babies getting shot. Yes. Motherfuckers think, you know, I got the switch on this bitch. It's cool when you shooting everything but the motherfucker you trying to shoot. So, you know, that's my motivation, bro. But, like, that shit almost took me up out of here, bro. Like, even young, you know, I was, my claim to fame was that I took care of the hood. The old people, the kids, like, so for that shit to happen on my watch, bro, whew, it was hard. You know, first 3 years, I tell people all the time, I was like, you know, only blood could call for blood. You know, I'm one of them DBD, death before dishonor for real brain motherfuckers, you know. And I'm like, how can I up out this bitch without it hurting so bad? So it was nights where I be standing on the toilet about to flush that bitch and jump head first. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, no.
But shit, from somewhere, you know, I popped up out of that shit like, you know, that'd be weak as fuck. You know what I'm saying? You know, my first 3 years in prison, I fought a lot. You know, they don't give a fuck. What about your street reputation? They gonna try you. You know, I pour hot water on motherfuckers, hit motherfuckers in the head with brooms, choke motherfuckers with sheets. Like, so for the rest of the 12 years, you know, people think it cap or you know, but like I control the yard with signals, the whole fucking thing. Everybody moved to the groove of the gods. You know what I'm talking about? And Jess was just powerful in there, man, in a way that like people wouldn't believe, you know. So a lot of that's, you know, so 4 years in, I became the minister of the Nation of Islam. Very strong discipline, you know, if you know, you know. And then, unlike most young guys, I got the blessings from the OGs. See, young cats be so uncouth with no fucking class and sophistication that the old school cats shun them often. But, you know, I was polished, you know what I'm talking about? So I got the blessings of all the big homies that I heard about or seen, you know, growing up, from Chambers and Currys and YBIs and fucking, you know, etc. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'd walk the yard with them and you know, build relationships with them, you know. So you know, I did, you couldn't shake my hand unless I nodded your approval. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
So you were with some, they make movies about some of these names you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, show you right.
The Curry family, right? So that's crazy. So you're just... Because the length is so long, unfortunately, of how long you're away for, that you get to go through a generation of major, unfortunately, players in the game. You know what I'm saying?
All my big homies. I talk to Johnny often. Inbox Facebook all the time about this thing or another. You know, salute to them guys. They real OGs for me. And what that mean is, they been to the mountaintop, back down and around, and still pretty. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Still got their name intact. Still, so you know, that shit's be. I don't really care about what a person did. I'm kind of compelled by what you doing. So, you know, salute to them guys. They got the Berliner strain, the cannabis strain.
Yep.
Yeah, man, doing great things in the community. Salute to them guys.
What was the you know, the beginning of your stages of you being in prison? You have to deal with the fighting and all this stuff that comes along with it. When was the point where you were able to take control?
So 6 months after joining the Nation of Islam, I found myself in leadership, and I felt I wasn't ready. However, I already had sway with the East Side, which is very strong on the yard. So it's a joint called. So we do concerts. We just had Freeway. We did Rakim. We did Vex. We call it the Gladiator School Alumni. And what the Gladiator School is, Michigan Reformatory in Ionia, Michigan. And a lot of guys out here doing progressive things. We come together, you know, we put the ticket together, bring the talent in, but we go into nursing homes, juvenile detention center, you know, and just make, like, love on the community. So the Gladiator School, it's a saying in the MDOC, Michigan Department of Corrections, that if you can make it at MR, you can make it anywhere. And then I respond to that, you know, in all arrogant humility. Not only did we make it, but we dominated that thing. And it was just about, so try to imagine. So again, East Side is strong. All the strong houses, from gang to religious, which had a lot of power, the heads of these organizations, we all was homeboys from the streets. So when you talk about a dynasty, right, it's about people coming from different spaces and places and bringing their influence to the table. And when you all come together, you kind of got what we would call the yard squared, right? Meaning total control, right? So could nothing move unless, you know, we were young, man, but we was stellar, man. We was polished, bro. I prayed 5 times. I wasn't eating meat or pork, you know, wasn't using profanity, wasn't jacking off. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, you know, the power was real, and then we training and working out on some Navy SEAL time 10 shit. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, when even, you know, and I hate to go here, but just to, even in war, we would be 2-3 against 10, 20, 30, bro, and we never lost, bro. And that's just like, for one, I'm not gonna fight if I'm wrong. I'm not gonna fight with you if you're wrong. See, our young generation got this misconception. You know, I'm fucking with my mans, I'm riding with you, right or wrong. Fuck no. If you wrong, motherfucker, go apologize. See, because it's forces that govern this shit. You know, and when you buck the force, you subject to anything. So again, bro, we'd be 2-3 of us, and we'd run through the multitude, bro, and we was fearless. You know what I'm talking about?
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow, man. That whole journey and experience through that, did it find a balance eventually, where, you know, your life wasn't threatened all the time?
So I end up going to solitary confinement, Barriga, Michigan, up in the UP. I did 3 years in there, which could have been 10, 15, but I was able to file a lawsuit, finagle some shit, and got up out of there. But in that 3 years, I kind of learned, you know, like, get the fuck off the soapbox. Like, shut the fuck up and just make your move. You know, when you look at history, Jesus, you know, was took up out of here because he spoke, you know, against the powers that be in a way that, you know, in my opinion, had he been more, and of course it was written, right? But Martin Luther King, right? He had that trumpet. Malcolm X, Tupac, right? So I just learned to be quiet and get it done. So, you know, I created a thing called expansion security, where it wouldn't be 30 people around me. It'll look like I'm alone, but at every space, I got my guys posted, and I can signal for help, and if I was in distress, right? But, you know, just move different, man. Stopped all the prison politics and shit, and just, you know, I remember writing a lot of my guys, like, man, I'm in camp. They like, what? You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here, you know what I'm saying? But what is taking in all the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding if you can't applied to a real life scenario? You reading The Art of Fucking War, 48 Laws of Power, the Prince Machiavelli, thick face, black heart, fucking Art of Seduction, and all this extravagant shit. And when it come down to the battlefield, you can't execute that shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, you got to be what you know.
With you having to constantly battle throughout the time, did your life ever come at risk?
Man, let me give you a couple examples. If I was having a conversation with you at this table and it could possibly go bad, I had somebody sitting right behind you to knock your head off, and you don't even know they sitting there.
So you were like a kingpin type.
Listen,
like
I'm thinking in a way that's not gonna allow me or mine to get scarred.
Oh, I got you.
You understand? And so imagine this, if you can. MR, that same joint, it was some static. It was some shit on the floor. Now follow me. We lock up at Night Yard at, say, 8:45. I go in my cell at 8:45. I don't say nothing to nobody. I'm angry. I change clothes, I wash up, I pray, I put my boots on, and I pace the floor all night long. When the gate opened, when the bars broke for breakfast at, say, 6-ish in the morning, I walk out. Bars can't even open all the way, I'm out. And 8 of my guys walking out at the same time, suited and booted. We hadn't said a word all night long. How do you defeat? That's hard to handle, man.
Yeah.
People wiping the cold out their eyes and shuffling and bumping into the wall, and we.
You were organized and you had the power.
So when you say that,
it's almost like you can't even imagine it because it was
can't-
so.
it's impossible, man. You know, and then we loved on everybody.
Did you get to walk by anybody that you said you walked through the Curry family, seen them come through in and out there and everything like that? Did you get to see anybody like I think Whiteboy Rick was locked up, but I think he was in a different facility. Or
Yeah,
anybody?
he was in the Fed joint.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just at an event a little while ago with him, and
Yeah.
took pictures and whatnot, and people be like, man, this, that, the other. And so 2 things about that. Whatever happened, I don't know. I wasn't the fuck there. But I can clearly see a young boy being manipulated. But even more than that, when I see my big homie who was there with him and went through it with him, give him a pass.
Wow.
Then who the fuck am I? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, motherfuckers say what they want to say, like a motherfucker who had all the right in the world to be like, fuck him. If he could give him a pass, then shit, who the fuck am I? You know what I'm talking about? So he out here, he in the community doing, you know, good things, and then I salute that shit, man. You know what I'm talking about?
I know it's a generic ass question, but you know, when you do so much time, what's the first meal you're having when you get out? I mean, you went vegetarian during your time?
Yeah, I was. And the thing about that, you know, I'm still kind of strict though. You know, I still work out a little, not as hard, but, you know, I don't eat pork. You know, I only go so far, you know, but you know, I wanted that home cooked mama meal, man. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff you grow up on, you know? Yeah.
What'd she make you?
Yeah, oh man, the works, man. Like that Thanksgiving jump off, you know. You know what I'm talking about?
turkey
yeah.
gravy and
Oh
everything?
yeah. Macaroni dressing, yeah, and all that good shit.
You missed you know, a substantial piece of your life, unfortunately, and like, do you look back at it and how do you grow from that?
So oftentimes people say stuff like, you know, you wise, man, you this, man, you that, you the realest I know, you. And then they say, you know, how'd you get to that space? And I say, suffering. So I think the fire and the trials and the tribulations, like, you know, my first book is The Passion of the Life. It wouldn't be no passion if it wasn't no suffering. You know what I mean? So, you know, even with, like I tell people, like, they like, man, how was you in prison? Woo, woo, woo. And I make it very clear, all my soldiers was far stronger than I was, you know. But it was a character. It was a heart, right? It was a mind. See, strength is more sometimes than what meets the eye, man, and it's shaped in darkness and pain and suffering, man. So you know, I can see in the dark, man. I can hear where, you know, I got a sixth sense out of this world, and then, you know, I'm strong as 50 motherfuckers, man. Like, so to me, that's all favor. And then to be beautiful at the same time, to be able to articulate at the same time, to be able to be a warm presence and benevolent presence at the same time. So that's favor.
When you came back, like, cell phones were relatively new, right? What was it like figuring out about cell phones and technology?
So one thing about me, when I turned that book deal down, I ended up formatting, editing, making my own book cover, and releasing my own book. My second mixtape, I recorded it and mixed it myself. Like, I wasn't coming out with no fucking excuses, like no fucking. I sat on the floor with the cell phone for 2 days, and you would have thought I got to have this shit. If these is the pieces on the board, through which I gotta move, I gotta have this shit, bro. So it was challenging, but I was up for that shit, man.
Well, because of social media, you're able to see face-to-face the representation of some of the culture, the community, even rappers that are from that way promoting the things that they promote. What are some differences in the culture that you remember from early Detroit till now?
So if you go to the streets and ask about me, it's there. One guy inboxed me and say, man, I remember you had followers before Instagram. And so my social media presence sucks. It's like foreign language. I don't care about it. Do I kind of get it? Sure, right? Just got Instagram maybe months ago, but I don't spend a lot of, like when I meet people, they be like, you on the gram here? Like back when it was more so what I call the iron way. If you had a name and a reputation, you got it the iron way. Now you can be this social media thing. I'm the fuck who I am now, later, driving up out of here, sleep. You understand? I'm the same motherfucker, man. I don't turn it on and off. But you got these, social media, man. This shit like you can be whatever you want to be, man. And I guess it's cool to each his own. But I guess for me, I'd rather have real tangible respect in the streets than in fucking the cyber world. You know what I mean?
Right. And your own integrity as well.
Hell
to know who
yeah.
you are as a person and to move your life in such a way instead of like changing it to make other people excited about you or entertained, So what is some things as far as what year did you come back from?
2009.
We said 2009. So
94 to 2009.
Now the music itself, I'm sure you know so much about the music scene. It sounds like, man. Talk about the new generation. From when you were coming back, it seems like Doughboys, Cash Out, Team Eastside were kind of emerging in Detroit.
I love all of that shit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you some shit, bro. When the fucking Eastside Cheddar Boys first shit hit, all my homeboys, right? I already know, like, probably if I was in the street, I'd have definitely been in that lineup. You know what I mean? Just again, knowing all them guys, knowing Wipeout, But, bro, when I heard that shit, man, even that first Rock Bottom, you know what I'm talking about? Oh my God, bro. That was some shit. If you could get a bootleg tape of any one of those, you get an easy $100. And this shit just felt like Chalmers to me. Fucking, oh man. So, I love that shit, bro. Doughboys, even the T Grizzly and the I love that shit, bro. I still hear it's a little different. The tempo is a little different, but I hear, the streets that I come from. You know what I'm talking about? I don't so much like the fucking the drill shit necessarily. I'm a Chicago boy, but I would have never made a diss record, bro. I'm fucking riding on your ass like today. Fuck goddamn diss record, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, with the stuff they're saying, it's a little bit different. Like, diss tracks have come a long way, and how vulgar and how disrespectful people can be. Like, we had Street Lord G-Rock on here, and he was talking about, like, you don't talk about somebody's dead mother. You don't talk about certain things you just don't talk about ever.
You're smoking packs. You smoking. See, so even to that, this how you know you're dealing with a demonic mentality. I put in a lot of work, bro, and I never felt good about it. You know, understand? It was nothing that I wanted to brag. In fact, I don't even want to talk about it. You know, oh man, I heard what happened. Kill that shit. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just a whole different, again, bro, that's that lack of class and sophistication. You know, even on the battlefield, I'm a gentleman, man. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, that shit is just to be blatant. That shit is whack as fuck.
What did you think about the biggest breaks in hip hop in Detroit? You know, one of the biggest breaks. Obviously, you know, Awesome Dre had a huge moment. UcciKhan had a huge moment, and then you're talking about Street Lords and Rock Bottom, and then obviously Eminem emerges. You're not there to see it happening, but are you hearing about it inside? Like, are you guys knowing what's going on?
Oh, absolutely, man. And you know, I loved it, man. It was electric, man. You know, the whole what was it, the hip hop shop, and
Yeah.
you know it was epic, man. And all I used to could say was, damn.
You wish
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Right.
damn.
What's been your experiences now, man? How are you feeling? Are you comfortable where you're at right now?
Oh, for sure, man. You know, I'm in the hood, man. I'm doing good in the hood. Got the nonprofit, man. You know, loving on these babies, man. Sharing my experience, traveling all over the place.
Where are you traveling to? What's been up?
Oh man, everywhere. I sit on boards from Cali to New York. You know, I mess with the gang element from Cali, Chicago, Bloods, Crips. I was on the fucking call with Mob James and my man BC, Mob Pyru from Compton for fucking 3 hours about a week ago. All the OGs, man, from everywhere, all sets. You know, I'm Blue Team GD, but I rock with everybody, bro. You know what I mean? From again, bro, the 60s, the fucking Vice Lords, and fucking everybody, man, everybody.
What was your experiences like? You keep talking about Chicago.
It's a different place, man. A lot of times I be in meetings and people be like, you know, Detroit, we got this gang problem. And I was like, you don't have a gang problem. You got what maybe, might, I doubt it, possibly could be a gang problem someday, but you don't have a gang problem. You have cliques and crews like you've always had. They just have picked up colors and twisted fingers now. But you don't have a gang problem. So, and I'll give you an example. I went to a school in Washington Park, South Side. Beautiful school. Called Diet, junior high school. I was in the 6th grade, and they was busing kids from all over the place. On this side, you had Stones. On that side of Washington Park, my cousin, them over there, Vice Lords. Down in the projects, Robert Taylor's, where I once lived in the Robert Taylor's when I was young, 4950 building. So it was a boiling pot for gangism, right? You had warring factions in one space. So one time some shit broke out. So Robert Taylor projects, if you do some research, this housing project alone housed over 20,000 people in this one alone. Now, you had several for miles and miles, right? But this one alone housed over 20,000 people. The demographic is one woman with approximately 4 children. 2 of those children would be more so probably inclined to be involved in gangism, right? So now you're talking about 20,000, 4 children. So you're talking about the gang element in this housing project alone being 1,000 strong.
Mm-hmm.
When you see that shit mobilize on a school, bro, Detroit doesn't have a gang problem. Right? I tell people you can have a fucking switch and unload it and shoot 17 motherfuckers and you still about to get stumped to death. Right? Electric as fuck, man. But I moved all through that thing, man. And you know, even when I sided up, I wasn't gangbanging. You know, I was just a fly little dude rapping in ciphers. I'd be fucking over here on 98th, 99th at Euclid Park, freestyling in the cypher with these motherfuckers, and then I be down on the wood, 67 Stony Island with my family running the fuck around, so I'll be all over that motherfucker, man.
When you were in the city, did you run across anybody like Proof or anybody like that, or any rappers?
No. All the whole time while I was gone, he came in.
Oh, so that was a little bit after,
went,
yeah.
I met his mom. Yep.
Wow.
Rest in heaven to her as well. Yep, dope, very spirited person. Yeah.
Talk about right now your plans. Have you ever heard of like Nutzik and what he has going on?
For sure. We do the exact same work.
You and Nutzik do the same thing?
We do the same thing.
Right. Yeah, his work is incredible. Like, they're going city to city and helping to rebuild the communities and build the culture.
So we got different methods.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, they and we just got the government, the mayor put out the Shot Stopper grant. We just got that grant. They got it for a neighborhood in the west side, and I got it for the 48205.
Cool.
So again, man, to be cleaning up what I messed up and make a living doing it at the same time is dope, man.
Right. Talk about that, buying back the block that you were arrested on.
I could live anywhere, man, but where can you buy a house for $500, a vacant lot for $100, right? So, we tore the neighborhood up, man. Like, we shot your shit up, then burned it up so you ain't come back. We didn't think about tomorrow, So when I came back and saw the blight and the desolation, that shit was like, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? But now to have it available and you see community gardens and flowers and people, eating and playing music. Like I got married in a lot, and on the east side, we had the solar power, it's a beautiful space now. So, I think, again, similar to the book where I say the deviant youth will be the savior of the community, I think these desolate places will become paradise.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about? So, like I say, I'm in the hood, man, where many fear to tread, I feel most comfortable. You know what I mean? Definitely a paranoid schizophrenic, wouldn't advise a motherfucker to trip the line, you know what I'm talking about? But I know everybody and love everybody, and I don't worry about that.
For sure. No, this was an incredible talk, man. I'm actually actually kind of taken back a little bit. I'm hearing your story and hearing how you're so conscious and aware of what needs to be done and how you took control over your life. And it seems like you're trying to put back a good message, which is really awesome. Hopefully everybody goes to check out the book, man. Gangsta Angel with Dirty Wings, man.
Yeah.
Who's on the cover of that?
That's me, man.
That doesn't look like you.
Come on, man.
They put a lot of darkness in your. Are you? What's your ethnicity?
I'm a black man.
Fully?
Yeah. Ironically, and I used to tell people, but I did my the DNA measure, and I probably got like 17% of European, and it's them like Vikings, the motherfucker. yeah.
That's probably where it all comes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look a little darker in here.
Yep.
With the glasses on too. Okay, that's what's doing it.
Yeah, suited up, man.
I see you.
I like to put them clothes on, man.
For sure. I appreciate you being a part of this, man.
Show you right.
We're
Thanks
gonna get
for
this book
having
out
me,
there.
family.
We're at Parallel Sound Studio, High Low Visuals, shooting these productions. We're out. Peace.